It's time for the how question of teaching, or the methods question. Now, there are obviously a range of different methods that you can choose between, and I cannot go into all of them, however interesting it would be. But I will give you some pointers on some of the most current ones that are under either attack or under scrutiny. First of all, I want you to think about what you want your students to learn, and if this method is the appropriate way to achieve that. Lecturing as a teaching method is sometimes considered the worst of the worst. But I don't really agree, because a good lecture will give the students a structure for their knowledge and for their learning process, which is really important. But a bad lecture is usually a boring monologue that really doesn't speak to anyone, perhaps some very eager few in the crowd. I don't want you to be one of those lecturers. A good way to structure a lecture is to take a case, tell a story, find something that's thought-provoking and meaningful to the students. An easy way to make a lecture more student-centered is to add discussions throughout it. Before you present a concept, you might want to ask the students what they think the concept means. Or if you have a really difficult theory, a good way to make it more meaningful to the student is to relate the theory to the practice they might meet later on, or to the work they might be doing later on at some point. Another good thing about discussions and reflection in groups is that students also get to know the people that are sitting around them in the lecture hall, and they get some time to process the important content that you have just presented to them. In a previous video, I suggested that the learning goals can be a good starting point for your lecture or for any assignment that you have for the student. So why not go back to the learning goals at the end of your lecture and ask the students to reflect upon what they have learned, or if they have questions about your lecture. Thanks to digital media, it's quite easy to gather a lot of responses from students, and you can have a look at them later on. And if you only have one lecture with the students, but you feel like you want to address the questions, why not create a video blog or a podcast? Or you can, of course, simply write to them through email. Either way, that's quite a nice way to end a lecture and to show the students that you are interested in their questions and that you also want to answer any question they have.